Hi everyone and welcome to Assessment and Validation. Before we get started, I found a great clip on the history of assessment that I'd like you to watch. Enjoy.
In the beginning, assessment was simple. We give something a try. It was obvious when we did not succeed. And it was obvious when we did. This became known as learning. Then formal education arrived. And we invented universities and lecture halls, lesson plans, and final exams. We tested students to see if they learned anything. And then we assessed our own effectiveness as teachers through anecdotal questionnaires and subjective end-of-semester surveys. And this might have been enough when we were graduating high school and college students to take predictable jobs with predictable career paths. But today, educators and students are part of a rapidly changing world. 21st century learners must be able to synthesize knowledge, communicate clearly with others, and create solutions to problems that we don't even know exist. Which means students need personalized, engaging, useful feedback on meaningful work, not multiple choice exams and unexplained letter grades. So whether you're teaching accountants, engineers, artists, welders, scientists, or nurses, your students need detailed feedback on meaningful work so they can become learners, not simply graduates.
I hope you thought the clip was great. I did. Now let's talk about competency-based assessment. Competency-based assessment is the process of gathering sufficient evidence. There are 4 principles of assessment. Valid, meaning that the assessment meets the required skills and knowledge. Reliable, that another assessor would make the same decision. Fair. Is it fair? The evidence needs to be open and transparent. Is it flexible? Can it be done on the job, off the job, online, or in a classroom? Evidence can come in many forms, and it varies from person to person. Let's have a look at somebody driving a car. To drive a car and to assess them as competent, they'd have to have skills. They'd have to be able to put on the handbrake, put their foot on the brake, use the accelerator, use the gears. They need to have the right attitude. They need to be able to obey the road rules. They need to know if they're speeding or the different signs. And they need to have knowledge. They need to be able to pass a knowledge test for starters. So if one of these are missing, there's not enough evidence. There's also 4 rules of evidence. Valid, meaning that the evidence that you're collecting is against what's required. Authentic. Is it their own work? It's often an iffy subject if it's their own work, especially if they're emailing it to you. Is it current? Is it work that was from 10 years ago? Current these days is within the last 3 years. And is it sufficient? Do you think you've actually gathered enough, or might you ask some more questions of them, or have them do something else? There's also different assessment methods. Direct evidence, probably the most sought after and the one that makes you feel like you've got enough there. That's direct evidence is where someone is doing something in front of you. They're baking the cake in front of you. You can ask them questions and say, how did you mix that together? They're building something in front of you. How many nails did you put in that? they're doing a typing test, you're actually watching and observing them doing it and asking them questions at the same time. Indirect evidence could be something that turns up on your desk and in the form of a portfolio. So it's something that you can look at later. So you might have a portfolio together with asking some questions. Then you've got, and you're feeling like you've got enough evidence. You could have any of these, and you might also have some supplementary evidence. Supplementary evidence can be a third-party report, or it might be a copy of their work diary. How do you feel when you've baked a really good chocolate cake and people come around and they say, wow, that was fantastic? That's what validation is. When you create an assessment, generally you think it's pretty good, but it's always good to have it validated so that you know that you're meeting all the rules of evidence and the principles of evidence. You're validating for accuracy, integrity. You're validating about the assessment process. Have you got all the instructions? Have you got all the tools that you need? Do you have the correct methods in there? And are you meeting the elements of competency, the performance criteria, the required skills and knowledge from your unit assessment guides? And are you meeting all of the evidence required from your unit of competency? What you need to do from here is the same as in the other processes. You need to download your student learning assessment guide, and you also need to download your assessments and cover sheet. Also, don't forget the coffee shop and the forum. If you've got any great things on validation or assessment, pop them in there. It'd be great to see. Enjoy and good luck.